Hey, happy Friday, everybody. We have May 13th, and what a fucking week, right? I was down with my father and did not have access to my cold wallet, so I was not able to unload at the proper time while things were crashing. So it's a pretty big mistake, but enjoyed spending time with my father. I don't regret, and my stepmother, but it was a pretty rough week, and I'm kind of glad I didn't come on and do these go lives. You don't need me to be the bearer of bad news to all those, including me, that had Terra Luna. My losses weren't that great, but they were big enough where I would not be happy about them. Could have been a hell of a lot worse because we were looking. That was a project that, as we were looking into figuring out who we were going to tie our stable coins to, I settled on USD or USC or whatever. The Coinbase stable is an option, although Coinbase did really terrible with their earnings, so that becomes a concern. So Terra right now looks like a good bet, but again, there's a lot of questions as to how stable the Terra stable coins are, and they may be the next under attack. So we were looking into the UST, the Terra, not. I'm sorry, that you can clearly see discombobulated from all this nonsense. So we're kind of trying to figure out which stable coin to go with, and Terra was one of them, and clearly that's out. They weren't stable, nothing got pegged. They went into a death spiral. There's a lot of conspiracies as to what happened and why, and I don't want to go blaming anyone, but this doesn't happen organically. And it was very interesting. The very time this was happening, Janet Yellen's talking about the need to regulate stable coins. So as the United States government is moving towards their central bank digital currency, this happens at perfect timing, right? I mean, what are the odds? What are the odds? I haven't heard much from the CEO of Luna Terra about what happened to this. Now, it could be he's under some sort of contract when he worked a deal out. So here's the theory: there were two very large hedge funds that pulled together 100,000 Bitcoin loan. So 100,000 Bitcoin times 30,000. You do the math because I can't do the math. I'm slow like that. Is that 3 billion? Let me go. 100,000 times. That's two more. That's 30 billion. 30 billion. Ooh, that's a big number. So they did a Terra for Bitcoin swap at a good rate, a good value, and then proceeded to sell everything, sold it all, and crashed it, and apparently did that on purpose. So it triggered a cascade. So another large crypto called Anchor Protocol, they were holding a large amount of Luna. So when this happened, they had to liquidate their positions in Luna, which further precipitated the avalanche coming downhill on everybody who owned Luna. Bitcoin, of course, was brought down below 27 to 26, which is the lowest to this point. And so far, it has bounced back a bit. Right now, it's trading about 30,021. There's a lot of shorts that are expiring today. The options that will actually expire, those are at 30,000 level. So the bulls are trying to keep Bitcoin under 30,000 for the option expiration. We'll see who ends up winning that. But I think that the lesson here for a lot of us in the community is that the beauty of Bitcoin is that Bitcoin is not a person. Bitcoin is a network, a decentralized network, a truly decentralized network. Most of these other groups like Terra Luna and many, almost all others, Cardano, everything else, as decentralized as they want to be, there is some point in time a single point of failure or multiple points of failure that are called their CEOs and their executives that can make terrible decisions and run the project right into the ground. I mean, basically, Terra Luna is Enron for the crypto community. And since this has happened, and since this is the situation we're in, it really puts a good light on Bitcoin for not having human beings get in and be able to screw it up. And In light of that, we're still going to obviously we're still looking into Solana with HapPhi, but I am now taking a much harder look at what I can do with the Lightning Network and what some of the DeFi stuff coming with Lightning will be, because, as a risk mitigation strategy, we really have to look, off of coins and tokens and onto things that are less likely to be impacted by human error. And that is a lesson for everybody. In the meantime, the community in general, I don't think the damage here is fully done. I think it's, got a little ways to go to play out. So what I've done is I've cashed out some of my coins, and I'm sort of sitting back and letting things sort of settle down, seeing if there's going to be an aftershock, seeing if this is a dead cat bounce, so to speak, and we end up bouncing up and then bouncing down further. I've seen a lot of dire predictions of Bitcoin down to 12,000, et cetera. That's really not even that bad. Most Bitcoin drop offs are between 80 and 90%. Right now, we're at about 60, 50, 55 percent off the high, 60 when it was down at 26. So a further drop wouldn't surprise me. Make sure you keep your gunpowder dry, as they say, but you never know with this. It could just spike up to 100 grand. So you don't want to overextend there either and find out that you just lost. Because typically what happens in this situation is poorer people sell, the wealthier people buy, the poorer people get poorer, the wealthier people get wealthier. So holding, if you can, holding and just sitting back, shutting your eyes and waiting for 2030 is not a bad strategy. If you are not in a position where you can do that, having some dry powder isn't necessarily a bad thing. But it's been a pretty big learning experience for the community at large. And not in a good way. There's a lot of people that were completely decimated by this. And I'm sorry for those people, because it's nothing you can do. It's so out of your control. And who the hell could see that coming? Some people were probably millionaires one second and, worth pennies the next. And, that's heartbreaking. But there's more to life than money. And if you made it once, you can make it again. That's the approach. And next time, don't have it fully leveraged in one major coin, unless that's Bitcoin, unless you have it in a cold wallet in Bitcoin. And even then, maybe it's good to have a little diversity in there as well. That's really, the whole week is that, right? Does anything else really matter? Do Kwon put out a roadmap for recovery. Nobody's going to buy him anymore. It turns out that guy's actually driven other stable coins into the ground too. Another one under another name. So Do Kwon has now been exposed. I would imagine was probably one of the most popular people in the world, 8, 9, 10 days ago, and now he's probably radioactive. But I think he's still probably got hundreds of millions of dollars, and we'll see if that guy reemerges under another name or just bites it. But to his slight credit, because everything else is not creditable, he's still out there trying to make moves to save this. And it's, listen, the only way to do that's some sort of hard fork trick, because both Terra and Luna are dead at this point. Luna's completely shot. He might be able to hard fork off Terra and work something out, but I'm not privy to that, and I'm not going to wrap my brain around how he can save it, because I have no control over that either. But if I were him, I'd be looking into some sort of hard fork with Terra. It does have, some assets, some software, some good things. But obviously it's back to the drawing board as far as your algorithm. Next time you put out an algorithm that's locking something to stability, check your math. Maybe figure out what happens in a worst case scenario like this, or don't do a dumb deal. And again, I'm waiting for this all to be validated, but that's the word on the street. And it seems to line up pretty well with what we're seeing with our government. So is our government involved? I have no proof of that. Are other hedge funds involved? That's sort of the word on the street. But again, waiting for proof. A lot of these stories are fake. But it wouldn't surprise me to see a coordinated attack that brought down one stable coin. And they might be trying to do it with others too, so they can tie the central bank digital currency directly into this world and kind of get their control and tentacles around the crypto community, which would not be good. But that's the direction things are going. Other than that, hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. We're going to lock this up before we get to the 10-minute point. Any comments, any questions, ask them to below. Otherwise, I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend and be safe.